Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. If you're new here, I'm just one old biker dude sharing my rides with you and bringing attention to muscular dystrophy. If you're a returning viewer, I really appreciate the clicks and the views. Just as a reminder, I want to let you know that there's a little bit less than a month left in order to make a donation on my donation page for the Muscular Dystrophy Virtual Muscle Walk on August 7th. I am actually going to ride 1 mile for each dollar that is donated. As of today, when I'm shooting this video, I'm up to $270, which is a great ride. I would like to push it even farther. So if you have the means, if you have the desire, I encourage you to click down below. I'll put the link in the description and you can go over and make a donation. Everyone who donates will get a One Old Biker Dude sticker, and the donor with the highest donation will get a t-shirt of their choice from my store for free. So today I'm going to go over to Washington and ride Highway 14 up to the Bridge of the Gods, come across the Bridge of the Gods to Cascade Locks, and back down the Gorge, stopping at some of the waterfalls. I expect it will be very crazy and crowded in the Gorge today since it's a very nice day and it's a Saturday. So we'll see how much we can see. So let's go. So it's been a little while since I've made this recording, so things have changed and you have even less time to make a donation. But even if you miss the August 7th deadline, you can still make a donation. It's all well and good. It just won't count towards the amount of miles I'll ride on the 7th. So if you've watched my other videos, this road probably looks familiar. I rode it on the way to Cathedral Park. It's really a pretty nice road to ride, though there aren't a lot of curves. Heading across I-205 on the Glen Jackson Bridge, crossing the Columbia River. Clover leaves are always fun. Highway 14 isn't quite as fun until you get a little bit farther in Washington. Then, instead of a freeway, it becomes a 2-lane highway winding through the trees. A lot of bikes were out that day. see quite a few. It was a great day for a ride. Cape Horn Overlook. I stopped here on one of my other rides, the one to Stonehenge in Washington, Mary Hill, Washington. The Bridge of the Gods. This leads into Cascade Locks, where a few years ago the Eagle Creek fire burned, forcing much, if not all, of Cascade Locks to evacuate. You can still see some of the scars in the forest. It is a toll bridge. It's $2 for a car. And it's $1 for a motorcycle. So I pulled off at Cascade Locks just to make sure the videos were still running. I think the last time that I did this ride, my cameras, my old clunky cheap cameras, stopped working sometime before I got here. So I wanted to make sure these were still running, and sure enough, they are. So we're good to go. We're gonna head back west on I-84. And we'll see how busy the gorge is, the Columbia River Gorge. I expect it to be really busy, so I may or may not be able to see a lot of the waterfalls. I'll probably be able to see Multnomah Falls. There's actual motorcycle parking there, so anyway, we'll go and see. So I didn't actually end up stopping at any of the waterfalls on that day. It was extremely crowded, a lot of people, hardly any parking, but I did cut in some pictures and video that I've taken over the years visiting on my own with family, so you'll get to see something. Off an old Highway 30. The road used to be closed for quite some time. Not because of any fire, but because there was a mudslide up here at this area. And so they had to close it between here and Bridalveil Falls. My wife and I were extremely excited when we found that it was actually opened back up. As far as I know, they didn't actually announce it. Pull off, adjust the cameras, and we'll get back on the road. This is one of my favorite roads. It's not very long, the speed is not very high, but it's great. This is Horsetail Falls. This region of Oregon has one of the highest concentrations of waterfalls in the country. And this is something you run into all the time on Saturdays. People who just don't know how to drive. People walking on the road when they shouldn't be. There's the Oneonta Tunnel. The road used to go through that tunnel until they widened it. Get close to Multnomah Falls, we run into the traffic. This is one reason I wasn't able to stop at any of these waterfalls. Oh, I probably could have found a little bit of parking that's easier with the bike, but there are just so many people it sometimes becomes a pain. Beautiful falls. You can hike up to the bridge. There's actually trails that go all the way up Larch Mountain, which is another ride I made. That's me and my wife, obviously during a mask up time. There's actually a trail here that runs between Multnomah Falls and Waukena Falls. So if you can't find parking at Multnomah Falls, you can sometimes find parking up here and use the trail to get back down to Multnomah. It doesn't always work, but it's an option. Rest Trailhead. I've never hiked Angel's Rest. I don't think my knees would appreciate it. This is the turnoff for Bridalveil Falls. one of my favorites. There's a little hike to the falls itself. There's also a nature hike out to the cliffs overlooking the Columbia River. And that was a picture of my sister and her family when they came up for a visit. This is Latourell Falls, one of my favorite falls. Really short hike down to the falls. If you're feeling adventurous, you can go up to the top of the falls, and I think there's an upper falls. But we usually just go down to the bottom of the falls. And then these are my favorite curves on the road. When they built this road, they made a challenge for themselves to keep the grade at I think at 2% or less. So when it climbs up to Crown Point, there's a lot of hairpin curves that are really extremely fun. My wife loves them. At Crown Point, there's the Vista House, and a great vista. There's the Vista House and the overlook. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below and subscribe, give it a like, and hit that notification button. And I'll see you on my next ride.